On a 3D account, I don't think I've ever seen people talking about in this sequence or even together gratitude, prayer, mindfulness, meditation, and going within for the answers. Wow, for a 3D person, that would probably fry their brain. Hello, gorgeous, lovely, wonderful starseeds. Alexander Quinn here, and I'm going to be talking about Ascension, exactly why it's real, and some evidential proof, because there's nothing better than a bit of real proof. So I've been on a bit of a mission over the past 12 months, and what I've done is I've created 2 Facebook accounts. I've got one for my 3D friends and one for my 5D friends. And it took me a while to do it, but I finally got there, and the results are quite startling. So before we get on to the results, I just want to talk about Dolores Cannon for a second, because what she said is that the 3D world and the 5D world will eventually begin to separate and keep dividing until there is massive polarity, and the gap will get bigger and bigger and bigger. So it'll start to basically even out and separate like oil and water. So the people in their 3D world will just stay in fear, and the 5D people who are on the Ascension timeline will just keep going up and up and up and up. And the two will be interfaced, but there will be 2 completely different realities between the 2 different constructs and sets of people that are actually living it. So what does that divide look like? Well, it's very, very real. So going back to my Facebook accounts, so it took me 12 months to do this. I have my 3D friends on one Facebook account and my 5D friends on one Facebook account. And what I did today for you guys is to basically go through both accounts and write down all of the distinguishing factors that make them unique and separate them out. And I'm going to be going through them right now. So I made a list. I've got it right down here. But what is incredible about the 2 accounts that I've been noticing, specifically of the last 12 months, is the polarity is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And, it's getting harder to sit on the fence. But the Starseed movement, the Ascension movement, the light workers, people who are spiritual, whatever you want to call it, if 3D's here, and the 5D movement is here. 3D is just staying still, and 5D is like just shooting up like this. It's incredible. So my 3D account I barely use anymore. I just use it as a viewing platform, just to periodically dip in and look at stuff and maybe private message old friends and things like that. Whereas I pretty much just use my 5D account, and that's how I'm rolling now. So the Ascension timeline is really ramping up. It's really going up like this. It's not even a hockey stick curve. It's not even going like, it's just going vertically up. So the divide is now so obvious between the 3D people and the 5D people that the distinguishing factors that I'm now going to run through, starting with the 3D, are so blatantly obvious now that it will become apparent to you and real that you really are on the Ascension timeline. You can't not realize it anymore. Next thing I see on the 3D account, which you don't get on the 5D account, is people absolutely still so absorbed by politics and stuck in it, and that's all they can talk about it, and I'm left wing and I'm right wing, and they're arguing and hating each other, and they're still living such dualistic lives that they can't see out of it. They're stuck in these man-made constructs, to the point where if one right-wing person doesn't agree with one left-wing, they're deleting that friend, I'm deleting you, and deleting that. Whereas on the 5D account, people are not deleting each other. There's much more compassion. The next one is 5D people coming out on a 3D account. My God, they're getting a hard time. They're getting dubbed insane, crazy. And if they're not getting dubbed insane, then they're really angering the 3D people, because 3D people are thinking, wow, what if, subconsciously, what if there is stuff outside of the matrix, out of all of this? You're waking up, a monster in them, because they're thinking, oh, I don't like this, maybe, and I don't like the truth. I'm going to get angry then. The next one that people on the 3D accounts are doing, which they absolutely hardly ever see on the 5D accounts, I've got it written down here, is constantly posting pictures of the restaurant they went to and the food they ate. So constantly out, constantly always in a restaurant. I went to this restaurant. It's got to be constantly taking pictures of the clothes they're wearing. I'm wearing these clothes. All this external validation that they're constantly having to have all the time. The next one, selfies. There's a hell of a lot of selfies going on the 3D accounts. There's one of me in the shower. There's one of me on the toilet. There's one of me having a bath. There's one of me, on the sofa. There's one of me looking at a spoon. There's one of me just like doing another mundane thing. Whereas on the 5D accounts, people are not doing that. They're either out in nature or take a look at my picture because I want to know what my star family are. There's none of this mundane selfie stuff going on. On a slightly smaller scale, on the 3D account, I would not say that there are friendships, but I'm talking as a group collective, as a group consciousness. There is not a togetherness, there is not a cohesiveness. Whereas on the 5D account, people might disagree on stuff, but there is a general aim. There's a togetherness, there's a feel. We're all here, we're in it together. Now, we all know what memes are. Well, the memes are very, very different too. Let's look at some of the 3D memes. Very 3D, toxic systems, religion, politics, meaningless dramas in life, and gossip. Whereas the memes on the 5D account are just all about expanding your mind, philosophy, better ways of living, better ways of eating, breaking out of the matrix. I mean, it couldn't be more poles apart. Now, I don't claim to be an angel. I enjoy a drink sometimes myself, and tonight I'm going to have a gin tonic with my dinner. But the next thing I see a lot is on the 3D accounts, everyone is posting their pictures with alcohol. They're constantly with alcohol, constantly drinking, constantly knocking it back. You hardly ever see that on 5D accounts. People constantly with a drink in their hand. It just it's not happening. The next one that I find really funny personally is the 5D people don't really give a shit about brands. Whereas the 3D people are like, it was Chanel, it was this thing, it was Louis Vuitton, it was this thing. They are so brainwashed. They are so, in the system of, they've seen so much advertising and it's gone so deep into their subconscious that they must have this brand because all the advertising is basically like brainwashing you to buy, and they are still super involved in that shit. Now, if they say fluoride kills your brain cells, I think it probably does, because it probably dumbs you down. That's what they wanted to do. The next thing is that these people are literally obsessed with posting mundane things on their Facebook account. Will I have Cocoa Pops for breakfast today? Or shall I put Cheerios? Discuss. The next thing I never ever see on my 5D account that 3D people are doing still all the time, and it's weird, slightly sick, and I don't understand it, is they will say that I absolutely hate animal abuse, and then they'll post a picture of a nasty animal abuse or a video. So if you're saying you hate animal abuse, why are you still showing the whole world? I never ever see that on a 5D account, ever. People will never post pictures like that because it is intolerable to them. So if you say you don't like something, why adhere to it and share even more of it? That's another big polarity on the two accounts. And the last thing before I do a conclusion on the 3D part and then move on to what I'm seeing on the 5D accounts is COVID-19. 3D people absolutely have to live by it. What the government says, yes, I will bow down. I will do exactly what you say because I've had so much fluoride and everything else that I'm so in the matrix that I will just do everything you tell me. And if you tell me that, and if someone says it's wrong, then I will hate them. I am the COVID police because I have to do what the government tell me. They're right all the single time. And it's mostly 3D people that are turning into the COVID police. And you see them in the tubes, you see them everywhere. If you're not wearing your mask, they are the first people to jump on your case. They are the 3D COVID police. On the 5D account, people can take and leave COVID. They're actually pretty chilled out. There's one or two people that are anxious about it, but they're not going into like deep fear. Some people don't even care about it at all, and a lot of people are reading through the COVID messages. Big polarity again. So let's round up the 3D thing, and I'm going to give you a very, very quick conclusion, and then we're going to move on. So what we got on the 3D accounts, if you're just going to do a 360, is that they're fearful, judgmental of others, judgmental of coming out the matrix, hateful and angry at the thought that there might be something out of the matrix. There's no self-advancement. Very, very heavy reliance on external things like material world and the external world, having to go outside to get your dopamine hit as opposed to letting it come from the inside. Now let's look at my 5D account. Now on the 5D account, I've almost got 5,000 friends, so I see a lot of variation there, but I'm just going to read through what I put here. These people on the 5D account are seeking knowledge. They're seeking self-help. All the memes are about spirituality, metaphysics, breaking away from social conformities and breaking away from old ways that don't work anymore. The next thing is the things that people are posting about are exploring the self, exploring energies, exploring the universe, going out into the universe and going within. People are also, a higher proportion of people are helping each other and looking for help and giving help. And then you have the truth seekers exposing and understanding the truth and really trying to understand not what you've been told, but what resonates with you and what you think as a sovereign being might be real, totally different. Let's look at even more stuff that I wrote down that I'm only seeing on the 5D account. Higher compassion for others, thoughtful insights and thoughtful links regards about personal self-development, questioning your reality, questioning other people's reality, questioning reality in general. More open honesty about how you feel, what you're going through, what you're up against. Less need to cover everything up with external things and external influences. People are saying, hey, you know what? Maybe I do need to work on this thing. But on the 3D account, what you occasionally see is if you were to have that level of honesty, you say, oh, well, there's something wrong with you. You need to toughen up. So the 5D people are really willing to put themselves on the line, be vulnerable and grow. Whereas the 3D people, they are enclosed in their little shell and they're budging around and say, I ain't coming out yet because I like it in here, all squashed up. The next thing on the 3D accounts is people taking pictures of all our friends who came over for a big barbecue. We got the steaks out, we got the bacon and the sausages. Now, I don't eat all that stuff myself, and I have no problem with anyone eating it. I love going to a good barbecue, but the 5D people never post pictures of having a barbecue. They're talking about healthy eating, eating clean, eating right, veganism, vegetables. Again, massive polarities, and it's getting wider. On the 5D account, people really do care about each other a lot more. They want to know what's going on with someone. Now, people will all dive in to help someone, which you don't see as much on the 3D account. And the way people are having exchanges is different. The way they are using Facebook is different. A lot more guys will use the heart button. People in general on the 5D accounts are using the heart button, whereas on the 3D account, that could be misconstrued as something, oh, you know, that's something, oh, and the guy that, oh, you know, a lot of suspicion. You know, love is a tough, prickly thing in 3D, whereas in 5D, it's much more flowing and much more free. On the 3D accounts, people are basically talking about their office job, or they're talking about a barbecue they're going to go to, or whatever, and all this kind of thing, or they're just kind of, you know, showing pictures of being out and about. The 5D people, they're interested in the beyond. They're talking about magic. They're talking about energies on Earth, energies off Earth. Are we alone? You know, they're talking about some very big ideas here. Much bigger than the 3D accounts. You know, 5D people think big. And a lot of you out there who may not think that you're a big thinker, you are bigger, way bigger than you realize. The next thing that 5D people are doing is promotion of sovereignty, being in control of yourself, being in control of your own thoughts, having thoughts for yourself first, not thoughts that are made for you. I'm seeing this all the time, whereas a lot of the 3D people are having thoughts because it's been given to them, or it's what they've been told, or it's what they feel they should have. The 5D people are way out of that. They're totally free. They're thinking for themselves, and they don't need to be told what to think for themselves, because they will have the thought first. Way different. On a 3D account, I don't think I've ever seen people talking about in this sequence or even together gratitude, prayer, mindfulness, meditation, and going within for the answers. Wow, for a 3D person, that would probably fry their brain. So here's the 5D conclusion. These people are basically, they're honest. They want to be vulnerable to find themselves. Self-exploration, healthy eating, better ways of living, compassion for yourself, compassion for others, truth-seeking and helping others. Those are the big things on 5D, and people don't need material externalizations. They might have them, but they don't need them. The 3D people, my God, if you took away their brands and all this stuff, they might just kill themselves. So there you have it. I have 2 Facebook accounts. One's 3D, one's 5D. That's what I'm seeing, and the polls are, just widening all the time, which is unbelievable. And that, my friends, is Ascension. That is Ascension happening. It's the Ascension timeline in activation. It is real. It's getting bigger all the time. And if you can't see or feel Ascension, you can now. And this is how you know it is happening. You know it is real. It's now touchable. It's malleable. You can see it. You can see it in yourself, and you can see it in others. Welcome to the party.